I have Charles Inojie with me today in my studio. Charles Inojie is a movie director, he's an actor, comedian, and he's been in the movie industry for over 3 decades. And the fascinating thing about it is he has developed a way to transcend with the millennials that we have today, to keep them entertained, to direct movies. And he has one very interesting one that I saw called The Johnsons. And he directed that show for about 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to join me and welcome Charles Inojie. Thank you. It's a massive pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. Thank you. You're welcome. I am glad to have you here in the United States because I started talking to you when you were in Nigeria, and we were looking forward to a time when we can actually sit down like this and have a conversation. Because I went through your bio, I searched you on Wikipedia. That is how serious it is. I read all about you, and I still know that there's still some information or still some stories that the Wikipedia doesn't have. Of course. Yeah, and even if it has most of our information, how it's been told, creates a huge margin and difference. And having you here to talk this out is just one thing I'll be looking forward to. Well, I'm here. I'm here. I'm ready for you. I posted on my social media, giving my followers a chance to ask you a question. And, I guess it's a new development that I started with, and my followers are not accustomed to that. But, I was fortunate enough to get one person to actually ask a question. Do you want to know what the question is? Yes. It's a very hilarious question. But the person said, tell me. What do you want to tell me, please? Is there something you tell me has to do with your career?
So you be careful the kind of questions you ask, so you don't get slapped by one of your guests.
Wow.
Oh, really? I don't know. That's strange. Not that I know of. You don't think you're telling me participated in making you look funny? Yeah, maybe it does make me look funny, but looking funny and being able to successfully deploy comic characters are two different things. You may look funny and not be able to act funny. You may look funny and not be funny. So to that extent, I don't think that maybe too. I'm not alone. So that brings the question. Yeah, how did you get into the movie industry? Okay, this is one story I have told too many times, but it's also one story I never get tired of telling. I am natural. This is something too that not many people always take from me. Say, I'm a very shy person. So, seeing me do a lot of the things I do in most of the movies, I understand when people can't agree with me that I'm a shy person. I'm not one of those who would ever have imagined a career in acting. As a little boy, I always wanted to be a lawyer. Yeah, I had people while growing up, some lawyers that I always looked up to, people I wanted to be like. The Femi Falanos of this world, Kani Fawahimi, Obhiseh, Bakoba. By the way, all of my growing up was at a time when the civil rights movement in Nigeria was at its peak. the struggle for democracy, the struggle for the actualization of the annulled, unfortunately, annulled June 12 elections, presumably won by the late MKO Abiola. So it was the moment when you cannot but love lawyers. A lot of those lawyers, big lawyers, then were doing so much great job sensitizing the masses on why the military must be kicked out of power. So I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer, so much so. But something happened. The late Professor Bode Osoyin, a renowned professor of theatre arts, had a resort in one small village in Sunwater, Ogun State. That was where I grew up to. Part of my growing up was in Sunwater. In fact, that's where I completed my secondary education. So he had this resort where he entertained writers, big writers, small writers, aspiring writers, every last Saturday of every month. So it was an opportunity for art enthusiasts, literary enthusiasts to meet these writers, get to meet them one-on-one, ask questions, interact with them and some of the characters they created in their book. So as one who had just left secondary school, some of the texts we read in our literature class during secondary school were written by some of these writers. For instance, that was where I met live Professor J.B. Clark, Ken Saro-Wiwa, and many other great writers like that. But the turning point was when the month that the resort entertained, hosted Ken Saro-Wiwa. I don't know if you know Ken Saro-Wiwa. Ken Saro-Wiwa was the man who led the Ogoni struggle, for self-determination, self-actualization. He actually came up with what was then known as the Ogoni Bill of Rights, which documented all of the injustices that the Nigerian state had minted on Ogoni land as a result of oil exploration and exploitation by Shell. So he was a very popular. He was a very popular man, very popular activist. He was a great writer himself, and at that time too, he was producing a very popular television sitcom known as Bassey and Company. Okay. So when we got the information that he was going to be the writer that we sought to be hosting next month, as it were, then we were all excited. We wanted to meet this great man. We all wanted to see him. So Prof now gathered us, many of young stars who were literary enthusiasts, I'll call us then, who wanted to also meet some of these writers, and said, you know what, Saruwa, being a dramatist, would actually, I want you guys to come up with a small drama sketch as part of the welcome package that the resort will be presenting to Saruwa. Prof, me, I'm not Sabia to never acted before. In fact, I'm a shy person, I don't want to act. Say, listen, Ken is not, he knows that you guys are amateurs, so he's not going to put anything against anybody. It's just for the fun. So I struggled and did everything not to be part of that. But Prof insisted that, you know what, guys, you just have to be part of it, or except you don't want to come to the resort on Saturday and see Kesaruwa. But we do want to visa the opportunity. So reluctantly we all joined. Myself, Malik Ibitoye, Saint, Omotaje, Steve Olive, the guys in the neighborhood. We just came together. And a play written by Steve Olide, then directed by Saint Omotaje, called The Spineless Revolution. It's a small playlet. small sketch, I should actually call it, which we presented on stage. And immediately the last scene ended, I took off around backstage. But I immediately was, who sent me? I've never done this kind of thing before. It was while I was hiding backstage that my friend Mali came to call me that Prof said we should come back on stage. So I wanted to have a word with us. I said, I talk, I don't go spoiler. I am sure I was the one in my wanted to berate. So why was he saying, you acted before? I said, no, that's my first time. So really, I'm did very well. You could do as an actor. So okay, I very understood. So he asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I'm out of secondary school. I'm hoping to go to the university to study law. So great. Well, that's fine. While you are waiting for your job, there's actually this 1 year certificate program in acting, University of Port Harcourt. You could just do that as a stopgap while you wait for job and go for your law. Me acting and the guy they tell you nothing. So we left. Days later, my friend came to me and said, that thing that man said, don't you think you should ask? Wait, worry you, I better leave that thing. So, but somehow the pressure came on. And even the jam said, you sure money day for you to go to school? This is what I want here. We just struggle rough and all kinds. So, yeah, I got the form for the certificate program in acting, University of Port Harcourt. I went for the auditions and the exams, took them, and I passed. It was while I had commenced the program that I actually realized that I had only come face to face with my destiny. So that was how to start. That was the beginning of the story. I completed the 1 year program and I didn't waste time. Enlisted for a full degree course. Eventually graduated in 1999 with a bachelor's in theatre arts. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Someone said that we get to meet destiny on the way to avoid it. Mm-hmm. Can just tell.
Nothing can be truer to my story than that. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, the scar on your forehead. It looks like we have the same scar.
You have one.
To tell you how, just to tell you how, I was playing with my younger brother. I was really young then. I fell from a stone building.
Whoa!
Yeah, I was that stubborn. I intentionally jumped up because I wanted to show up, and then I somehow landed with my head, and that was it. So how did you get your scar?
While I was in the village as a little boy, I had an uncle who helped my grandmom from time to time with tubers of yams, cassava, maize, according to what the farming season was producing. This particular day, this fateful day, at about 5 a.m. I suppose, very cold, hard on top Monday. I'm sure he was returning from one of his concubines' place. He knocked up. And the grandmother downstairs and said, wake Charles will tell him to get ready. He's following me to the farm to go and bring back some yam, some yam for you. He said, you look at me, I'm not doing it. But this yam, now me and you will chop up. Why is it difficult? Why? In fact, if you don't want to go, you will continue sleeping here. Go outside. So I went outside and stayed like this by the drum. You know, in the villages, you have this big drum where you connect the water from the sea.
Yeah,
so I don't really see
can
get water. You harvest rainwater. So I was just there, almost half sleeping, half awake. So I didn't know this uncle of mine was coming from behind me. You are still here. He had my head like me. And with the unexpectedness of the slap,
reflex.
I'm like this. I bounced on the edge of the drum. Boom. That was it.
Wow. And then you ended up with the same scar like me.
Yeah. I'm carrying that to be it.
I guess it was scar for success, huh? I hope so. Are you from a royal home?
Yes, sir.
So if you're from a royal home, how do you end up living with your grandmother?
Oh, what's wrong with that? do royals not have grandmothers?
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect a royal home to leave their children with their grandmother.
Okay, here's the story. My dad is a prince.
Okay.
And I don't know how it works where you are from, but in my place, kings marry as many wives as possible. My story is a bit peculiar, some very beautiful way. My mother had my dad. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I don't know, she couldn't have another child. And you know how it is in homes like that, such could be attributed to, oh, now one wife, they bewitch me, and the other one make I'm not happy. So she left the marriage. I went to a neighboring village to remarry. So my dad is an only child. Led to remarry. And so when my mom had my pregnancy, as it was the practice then too, and I think largely to a very large extent people still do that even till date. When she was almost due, she left Lagos to come and meet my grandmother in the village, so she could help nurse, her up to delivery. So when she had me, my grandmother said, well, she's been lonely almost all her life. This one will stay with me. You know, we'll go with this one. Don't worry, you go meet your husband. Looking at the other ones, at least they can go on to this. So that was how from birth I lived with my grandma. So cold breast. And we're here today.
Yeah, someone said that adversity introduces a man or woman to themselves. Ask you this question. How has your background affected your journey to where you are right now?
Oh yes, a lot. I believe that I could never have turned out well. That is assuming I have, if I didn't have the kind of upbringing that I had. I was raised by a grandmother who believed so much in God. I always wonder why I had to go to church almost every day of the week, whereas every other of my mates only went to church on Sundays. That was how deep into Christianity she was. There seems to be church in the village so strong. We were very strong members. So that shielded me from a lot of the vices that consumed many of my peers. Yeah. Looking back, and I dare say, I was almost seen like, now I'm not for you, because you never have counted me as one of the happening kids in the village, except that I would always come out well in class. But in terms of social activities, there's a dance party somewhere, there's a night party somewhere, you would never find me there. So all of those, off camera while we're coming, I told you about while growing up, I could never come home with a pair of bathroom slippers. That I cannot explain its source. It's something that my grandmother cannot trace its ownership to me. You can't, it's not possible. But today you find mothers celebrating their children for buying cars children you know have no known means of livelihood. I think all of what I have today are attributed to the kind of very strict and tenacious discipline that I have as a little boy.
Wonderful. Just curious, have you ever found yourself in situations where you are taken for a joke while you're trying to be serious?
Oh, all the time. All the time. And somebody tells me that even now you probably are not taking me so very serious. All the time, yeah. Even my wife.
So if your wife,
the first time I told her, babe, I love you, she was laughing. Oh, be serious now. What's every time you be doing comedy? I said, how else do the rest people tell their girlfriends that they love them? Up to when I proposed, she still felt you won't be serious. That's every time you will just be joking. But that's it. I mean, I don't know how else other people do it. So there are times you are serious and people just, no, man, you don't know it. You know, you are driving on the street of Lagos and some crazy bike rider knocks off your side mirror, for instance. And immediately you come down from the person. Naimo. Hey, guy, they go like, you don't know, I'm a nice guy now, they cool. They go, he's not annoyed. Now, my side mirror, they knock off. You know, it takes, even this podcast, what we do now, there are people that will watch it and say, why is he funny? He's not serious, you don't mind him. No, what have I done? I mean, I'm just having a conversation. So, it happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
I've reached that point where I just feel there's nothing I can do about it.
Now let's talk about the feeling. I read your journal online about you that you went to church and then a woman said to her son, look at that woman.
Every day.
How do you feel about it?
Well, how am I supposed to feel? I just take. I mean, everybody comes to church, the hope of, at least, even when you're not holy, you will try to be pious. You want to pray to God and try to dress well. There's nothing in my dressing, in my composure, in my disposition that suggests that I believe. Yes, some woman just jump up, so, hey, you come and see that woman that we watched last night. I just say, what can you do? It's a life that you have chosen. So there's almost nothing you can do about it.
Interesting. You talked about your wife. You know, it's beautiful to be married. And part of the reason I respect you so much is because you've been married for years.
Oh, I didn't marry that early, or when society expects that I should have. But no regrets. I've been on the journey now for.
What amazes me is that you live in Nigeria and your wife is in the United States. So how do you deal with being married and being away for a while? Like I was on a conversation with you while we were coming and you said the last time you were in the United States was 2019. It's been about 4 years, I guess.
Well, yeah,
technically 3 years.
The pandemic didn't help.
Yeah, so how are you dealing with being married and being away for so long?
Well, there are certain decisions you take, and you also have to understand that they come with certain price, sacrifice. And this is just one of them. For instance, I have a daughter that's a US citizen. I just felt, she should, from her young age, into take advantage of the possibilities, the opportunities that the society, the American society can unified Africa. So it's a family decision to look at the family decision to.
But let's talk about the other side. The average African or Nigerian that I know, once they step their feet in the United States, they're not going back. So how have you been able to go back? And I mean, you're like 1 out of 7 who will come to the United States and have all these opportunities to stay but still go back. Why? Why do you choose to go back?
Well, I'm not so sure I am so very much average. Well, that's a joke. No. Speaking seriously, I believe that I have a role to play in determining what becomes of the Nigeria of our collective dream, what we want our country to become. I believe we all cannot run away. Yeah. I believe there is a role that each of us must deliberately, consciously decide, agree to play if we are ever going to have a country that we all can be proud of. And I have elected to be part of that army of new generation of Nigerians who are determined to see that a true sensitization through voter education, that we are able to bring about a new political awakening, such that we are listening, committed to listen, and what we are hearing so far on the Peter Obehi is ventilating those ideologies, those philosophy, political philosophy, economic, policy ideas that we think can make the country better. In any case, if the country is better, it's for everybody. So it's not going to be for whether I supported Obehi or I supported someone else. But this is not about politics now.
Yeah, I'm just trying so we can touch a bit of different angles, so we can all see the different presuppositions that we all align ourselves towards. But just want to ask you this: you are a well-known face, and someone in my audience might be looking to work, with you or collaborate with you. Are you open for collaboration?
Why not? Why not? The kind of job I do is one that thrives on collaboration, because you always cannot do it all alone. By the time you pull resources together, human, material, financial, you do twice what you probably would have done all by yourself. So collaboration is key. Yeah.
So if they want to collaborate with you, how do they reach out to you?
They should reach out to you. You know how to reach out to me. But in any case, my social media handles, Facebook, Instagram. On Facebook, I am Charles Inojie. On Instagram, I'm Charles Inojie. On TikTok, I am Authentic Charles Inojie. Yeah.
You also need to know that your stuff has been trending a lot on TikTok. Yeah, like one in every 3 posts I see on TikTok, it's you. By the way, that reminds me, Mr. Igbo.
Yeah, Mr. Igbo.
What was the last time you heard from him? Yeah, I mean, the movie was all about you and him back in the days. And, you know, it's so funny because I was young when I was watching your movies. You know, I was young when I was watching your movies. And, you know, those were the comedy of then when, you know, movies are not, you know, rampant now. The question is, what do you really think has changed over the years when it comes to movie, the Nigerian movie industry? What do you think has really changed?
It would be wrong to say that nothing has changed because the quality of our movies back then and what you see today are not the same. I mean, today the qualities of our movies, technically speaking, can compete with the best from anywhere else in the world. I mean, I say that with all sense of modesty. Yeah, we are doing great to that extent. But where we are missing it, and which I also try to preach to a lot of these young filmmakers. Yeah, there are a huge army of them who believe that once they get out of film schools, they want to display all of the hot knowledge they just acquired. I keep telling them that technical razzmatazz cannot take the place of a good story. When Nollywood struck the attention of the world, when the world stood still for Nigerian movies, the quality of our films were as bad can be. But there was something we had that the world could not shy away from. The power of storytelling. And we're almost losing that. We're almost losing that because many filmmakers of today believe that they can quit or maybe replace completely the art of good storytelling with technical razzmatazz. That's not true. Because
so what's technical razzmatazz? I don't know what that is.
The movies of old, the ones you described, those days we just probably had 1 2K light, 2 red heads, a boom mic and a fish pole, and that was it. Pictures were truly bad compared to what we have now. But today, I mean, just look at your podcast. I just complimented your pictures now before we got on set. Today, we are doing great. You know, better camera qualities, better lenses, better lighting, better sound. You know, all of the departments, all of the various aspects of filmmaking have improved. What has not improved is the power of storytelling. Yeah, our stories are not as good as they used to be, whereas everything else around the filmmaking has improved, but our storytelling has not improved. I think we need to go back to the scripts as we used to have them of old, getting directors who understand the art of storytelling. You know, the dramatic enterprise should be so that the director must at all times display superior knowledge of the dramatic literature, and to that extent is able to guide every member of cast and crew towards arriving at the predetermined or at his predetermined goal for that particular script. I cannot read the script, and by the time I get upset, I'm disappointed because what I'm saying, I can't feel it. What I'm saying is perhaps below what I read. The director must be able to take the story above what is on the dramatic literature, what is in the script. So in most cases, you don't. The reverse is the case, and I think that's where the problem is at the moment.
Do you have any specific suggestion on how we can improve quality of stories? What do you think a director out there can do to improve the quality of his story?
The director should not just be concerned about technicals. You see, what we have as Africans, storytelling is with us, it's a culture. Those days back in the villages, those days in the villages at moonlit nights, you find almost in every home a cluster of children, with probably the oldest person in the family, telling stories, folk tales. Folklore is part and parcel of the African culture. So it is something we know. Storytelling is something we are at home with. We shouldn't lose that. When you have a problem, you take drama school, or just learn, how to create magic with camera. Learn about drama, because that is what makes the African. You want to make films of how one car flew from this flyover and landed on the other flyover, then fell into the sea, the Atlantic Ocean, came out from the other end of the Atlantic Ocean, and the hero, the driver of the car, is still alive. It's okay. But you can't do that better than the white man. You create a story around a hero, maybe a daredevil armed robber, who took on the whole army of a nation and came out unscathed. It is okay. It's fine. But you can't do that better than the white man, because it's got the technology to create believable shots and scenarios from stories like that. But you see this drama that the African is known for. Family stories around myths, around misconceptions, around beliefs. That's us. Around marriages, around issues of the concept of a male child, family, and why the lack of one poses some tension and all that. That's us. But if you are going to create, you want to believe because you want to jump the bandwagon, you don't feel okay, I want Van Damme, I want Jackie Chan. Yes, good luck. But you have to beat the white man in that game for you to be accepted, for you to be believable. Okay.
I guess that's a good way to end our podcast. I believe this is a call
to talk about, the movie industry, which we've been talking about, and I believe this is also a way to network. That's one thing I like about my podcast, and again, it's more of getting to know more about people.
Yeah.
Instead, because I believe people only do business with people they know and trust. So you get to know people, and then you can do more projects with them. Do you have any projects coming up very soon?
Oh, well, that's always a constant. This is the filmmaking is the only thing I know. It's the only thing I've done in the last 22 years now. So having a new project is always a constant.
So do you have anyone going on right now?
Going on is, of course, the Johnsons that you spoke about.
Whose fat is most likely to clear the entire set?
Hey! Well, without trying to deride anyone's physiognomy, merely looking at him, you should know the kind of atomic bomb that can come out of that region. So let's not go there.
I agree. I go through it.
Mine, it has almost taken a huge part of my life. Living Lucky Johnson, the character, is almost like a second wife for me now. That's playing or being on the screen every day for the past, at least in the last 7 years running. Not be my mind. Not be my mind. But we still find time to do something that's what we could call arts. Yeah. So
You have something else going on DSTV?
no, just
Oh, okay.
except maybe the movie I featured in the movie I shot, but that's just as a show owned by the channel. It's just the Johnsons.
Oh.
And that one is enough if you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about. I spend more time with the Johnsons than I do with my family. Yes. If you have to be together almost 8-9 hours every day, all year round, you know what I'm talking about. There are times before my family moved, there are times I get home, the kids have slept. And probably by the time I also get ready to leave for work the next morning, probably another week. So, meanwhile, the other family, the television family, I deal with them, as regularly as. But that's it. It's a life we have chosen. We are living it.
Thank you very much. Would you have anything to say to my listeners right now? Would you encourage them to subscribe to my podcast?
Yes, my name is Charles Inojie. There are those of you who probably love to call me Lucky Johnson or I'm Lucky Lala. Or should I say, not them the Russians. But whichever, I want to confidently, with my full chest, invite you, encourage you, implore you, beg you if possible, to please subscribe to the Alex Amazing podcast.